What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully, you guys are having a great day so far. In today's video, we're going to cover some events that are going to be popping up during this Gloom Eater Path event. Now, this Gloom Eater Path event is totally optional, guys. It's for Khamir's 5-star soul. There's going to be a 3 and 4-star version of it available also. There's also going to be relic materials from these Fire Gem group, which is a pretty rare group of relic materials. And then you get the usual, top end rewards like mythical books and the big stone. But according to Plarium, there's going to be a progressive event happening at the same time. So I'm going to put that up on screen right now. And then I'm going to talk about some of these champions that are currently available on this 15x progressive event, starting at the same time as the Gloom Eater event. It's going to last 72 hours, so it's going to last the entire duration of the Gloom Eater path. Let's talk about these champions here real quick. We got Gertha Darkseer. So Gertha Darkseer, I did do a showcase on her. She's a pretty standard, like kind of damage dealing champion, but she does deal pretty good damage. She got an AoE A1 with the chance to extra hit. It's not really a chance, but it's if her attack is higher than the enemy, and usually she is an attack-based damage dealer. Her A2, also another AoE attack, has an equalized HP on the enemy, which is pretty cool. So that's consider that a type of a hit, right? It brings down damage, or it brings in a bit of damage against the enemy. Will ignore 30% of each target's defense if the average HP of the enemy team is above 50%. And if it's below 50%, she's going to get an extra hit. And on top of all this, her damage scales up for each enemy she kills. This is a really good ability. It's on a 3-turn cooldown. It deals plenty of damage to kill stuff, especially like PvE waves and stuff like that, faction wars. Nice ability. The A3 here on a 3-turn cooldown as well as an AoE double hit. She's going to buff herself with increased crit damage and shatter before attacking. The first hit decreases each target's defense by 10% up to 30%. So that's good. So you go in with the first hit, their defense is lowered, and then the second hit will come in and it's going to destroy max HP. Also get an extra turn if she kills an enemy. It's on a 3-turn cooldown, which is really solid. So in her kit, she has 3 AoE abilities and they all hit pretty good. Now, the big thing about her is that she doesn't really offer too much more other than just damage, right? And the thing is, she doesn't ignore things like stone skin. She doesn't go through unkillable, block damage, or anything like that. So in terms of having capability to help you through some of those harder fights, she probably wouldn't be able to. But with that being said, she does hit pretty hard. So she can help you out in waves, faction wars, PvE content where those sets are not showing up too often. For example, like stone skin. Her passive is actually also really good. Whenever she lands a crit, she also heals herself, and then the surplus heal will become a shield. And if her HP is full, those crit hit becomes turn meter. The turn meter boost is actually pretty significant, considering that she has a bunch of AoE, so she's going to crit all the time. Her base attack is lower, but that's because the multipliers on all her abilities are really good. Definitely worth, I think, using, in my opinion. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have Grugtha and are using her to the best of your ability. Up next, we have Vestil Riverthorn from the Sylvan Watchers. Vestil, again, I did do a showcase on this champion. Amazing, visually looking champion. Is she as good as she looks? Yes, she is. She hits really hard. Her A1 is, she's a lockout proof champion because her A1 is so good. It's a double hit with the chance to remove all buffs on the target. The chance goes up to 100% if this ability is used outside of her turn. So for example, a counterattack, ally attack, or something like that. And the effect cannot be resisted if her attack is higher than the enemy. She is an attack-based damage dealer, so most likely her attack is going to be higher than the enemy. She also ignores 5% of the target's defense for each buff on this champion. So when she steals buffs, she's going to get stronger and stronger with her A1. And her A1 smacks. Her A2 on a 4-turn cooldown is a single target hit. Self-buffs herself with increased attack, shatter, and goes through block damage and stone skin. Also gives her an extra turn. If she kills an enemy, the target survives. She's going to give 30% turn meter to all allies, which is massive. This is on a 4-turn cooldown, so there is, a long duration for this, but it's very powerful. Now her A3, again on a 4-turn cooldown, is an AoE attack. Before attacking, she places weaken. It cannot be resisted if she has higher attack than the enemies. And then she has a baseline 25% ignore defense in it. Also plays an extra hit if her attack is higher than the enemies. Also places unkillable and counterattack on herself. So It's effectively a double hit AoE with the weaken, with ignore defense, and then she self buffs herself with unkillable and counterattack. Keep in mind that the counterattack synergizes with her A1 also. This is on a 4-turn cooldown, which means pretty long duration on it. So she has two 4-turn cooldown abilities, not the best, but her A1 is strong enough that it's just worth using. So not too bad. And then her passive here has a 50% chance to deal 100% more damage against enemies whose attack is equal to or lower than this champion. So she has more attack than the enemy. She's going to have a coin flip to do 100% more damage. This champion receives 30% less damage from enemies whose attack is less than hers. The damage reduction is not too significant. Her, survivability is not crazy or anything like that, but the extra damage is significant. And then she comes in with attack in arena battles. Now she does a lot of damage. She goes through some of the nastier stuff in the game, like for example, stone skin block damage, and she self buffs herself, which is super nice. She has AoEs. She has irresistible steals, irresistible weaken. Very good champion, very good damage dealer. Up next, we have Sanguine Maria. Interesting. Sanguine Maria from the Undead Hordes. Now, she was a fusion probably last Halloween, I think. I think she was the fusion for Halloween. This champion, very good. Very good. I actually use this champion pretty much full time. She's one of my full time PvP champions. She can be a little bit tricky to use, mainly because of her kit, but she's very effective. Even with lower tiers gear, she can be very good. Her A1 is a triple hit. She has a chance to get an extra turn on each hit, so 33% chance per hit. 30% damage from books, very nice to see. And then she comes in here with a single target, 3-turn cooldown hit. Ignores 33% of the target's defense, will ignore 99% of the target's defense. Stone skin and block damage instead if this skill is used on a turn that is divisible by 3. So on her third turn, this ability gets juiced up. 99% ignore defense is crazy. Ignore stone skin block damage. Very strong. If the target is killed, increase the cooldown of all enemy skills by 3 turns. The effect cannot be resisted if it's used on a turn divisible by 3. So if you're not keeping track of this skill, it's just a single target hit, 33% ignore defense. But if you are keeping track of this skill, it's effectively 100% ignored, target defense, single target hit, ignoring stone skin, block damage, and it's a full team lockout on a 3-turn cooldown. So if you can, remember or keep track of your turn count and use this only on the proper turn, it's freaking amazing. It's an amazing ability. And then on her A3 here, a 3-turn cooldown, again, a single target hit. Before attacking, remove all buffs from all enemies. This effect cannot be resisted by enemies with a number of buffs that is divisible by 3. Will attack all remaining enemies with less than 66% HP. Grants an extra turn if the champion is under a number of buffs that is divisible by 3. So if you can kind of preset this with Maria, basically buff her preemptively, or supply her with buffs to meet this condition so that she can open with this, right? This is kind of like an enemy strips the enemy, and then you come back in maybe with this, or maybe with the with the A1 first, and then you come in with a turn 3 kind of sanguine fisher. And then you're just gonna decimate the enemy team. Like, you lock them out, kill a bunch of stuff. She's crazy, and her passive makes her even more crazy. Each subsequent hit from this champion deals 33% more damage, up to 99%, and then it resets afterwards. Each subsequent hit this champion receives. Now, this is the really nice stuff too. She receives 33% less damage, so stacks up to 3, and then it repeats. So at one point, she's going to receive 99% damage reduction, and then you'll see that she basically takes no damage. It'll be like 100 damage or something. Whenever an enemy is revives this champion with 33% HP, 66% turn meter. After being revived, places true fear on all enemies. This debuff cannot be resisted or blocked. So she has ways to keep herself alive. She has damage scaling, and she kind of has like a return from death ability. She's a great champ, very hard to kill, can do a lot of damage. Don't ever count her out from a fight. Up next, from the Dwarf faction, we have Uzel of the Jade. This guy, you know what? I see him a lot in progressive events, but I don't think this guy is going to get chosen a lot in terms of his capabilities. He is a damage dealing champion, and he gains a lot of benefit from extra turns. His A1, 20% chance to gain an extra turn. If this attack kills somebody, gets an extra turn. His A2 on a 3-turn cooldown is an AoE attack. Goes through shield and places places decreased defense, and that cannot be resisted if it's placed on an extra turn. Has a 20% chance of granting extra turn. This chance increases by 10% for each critical hit. It's an AoE ability, so potentially it could be 60-70% chance to get an extra turn. This is on a 3-turn cooldown. And then his A3, this is a big hit. It's a single target hit, ignore shields, block damage, unkillable. So all the nasty stuff. Also ignore Stone Skin and 100% of the target's defense if it's used on an extra turn or instant turn. So he gets a pretty significant benefit there. Obviously, he has extra turn mechanics in his whole kit. His passive gives him more damage during extra turn, and it also helps your allies gain more chance of getting extra turn if they have an extra turn mechanic in their kit. He just doesn't give everybody 5%. He just gives champions with extra turn mechanics an additional 5%. Yeah, so not a bad champ. Definitely usable and all that stuff. Very powerful in the right situation, but potentially inconsistent, potentially tricky to use. Let's move on. We're moving on to Wallmaster, Author Ryan here. Very good champ. Main deal with this guy is, put him in a Slayer set and he solos hard spider mode. He self buffs. He grows his HP, which is very nice on his passive. And he has this ability here, which is amazing. 3-turn cooldown. AoE double hit. Has 100% chance of landing block buffs and decreased attack. Also has a turn meter fill, and it's an enemy max HP hit. So then this champion can be used for areas like Hydra, can be good for boss content. He's actually very good for Hydra because of the block buffs. And yeah, he's very good. He can help you for damage. He can give you some debuffs. Very nice champion. So some pretty good non-void champions here from this progressive event for the weekend. So if you're pulling, there's definitely some extra icing on the cake to make it a little bit better. In terms of the void champions here, though, let's talk about them real quick. We have Pontiff Augustin from the Night Revs. He was the main boss from the previous Assassin's Creed collab. Good champ, not that good against Stone Skin and Mercurial. Unfortunately, he has a nice speed in all battles aura. He has a nice passive, to be honest. Allies receiving less damage from enemies with these buffs. And then every time an enemy receives a buff or is healed or has turn meter fill, he has a 50% chance of basically decreasing the duration of all of their buffs. So it's like a passive strip, which is very nice. You start off here with a 4-turn cooldown with the increased accuracy and then the intercept stack on all your allies with a big turn meter fill. You get an extra turn. The extra turn goes into this ability. It's full enemy strip. You place ensnare and block debuffs. Sorry, goes through block debuffs. And then it also decreases their turn meter. Now, this is going to be a bit of a problem because you can't remove Mercurial. You can't, reliably remove Stone Skin. And then ensnare is not hard CC. It's kind of like a soft disable. It just shuts off turn meter boosting. So I wouldn't consider this kind of like hard to see. And then turn meter pushback. Again, it won't go through Stone Skin, won't go through Mercurial. So all of this gets checked pretty hard by, the top sets in PvP content. I would much rather prefer this turn meter pushback to be a turn meter increase. And I much rather prefer this ensnare to be stunned, for example, like an actual, hard CC. And then this ability would be a lot better. But as it is right now, it gets countered pretty hard. His A1 is pretty good. It's a block active skill and a turn meter steal. Very strong ability. But the rest of his kit just not going to work out super well. This ability just needed to be a little bit different, or the meta needs to be a bit different. But he's not going to really shine in PvP. For PvE content, he's going to be great, obviously, against waves and stuff. Lots of control. Up next, we're back into the Dwarves faction. We have Arnor and the Shining. Very good champion. He's a Void Affinity damage dealer. He has a nice passive here with a bit of damage scaling with his attack. And then he has an active ability here that keeps him alive when he gets fatal damage. So he prevents his death, keeps him at 1 HP, puts Stone Skin on him, and then he instantly activates his A3. His A3 is a pretty big AoE hit, ignores increased defense, strength, and shields. If it kills even one enemy, it pushes back the turn meter by 50%, and it cannot be resisted. So that's really nice. His A2 here is a single target double hit. The damage is going to be increased for each 10% HP this champion has lost. So if he's lower HP, for example, coming back after this effect, he's going to deal more damage. If the target is under 2 or more buffs, we'll ignore 35% of the target's defense. That's pretty significant. And then extra turn if he kills an enemy. So His A1 also pretty decent, a chance to stun with damage increasing depending on how much buffs are on the enemy. So overall, I mean, he's just a pretty standard damage dealer. Would have loved to see ignore defense here on his A3, but probably too powerful considering that he has that irresistible Termir pushback. And then, yeah, his passive, really nice, can be tricky to play around for some people if you're not aware of it. And being Void Affinity really helps as a damage dealer, right? So, not too bad, Arnor and Shining. And then, lastly, for the Voids, we have from the Lizardmen, we have Sulfurion. Sulfurion, very strong champion. He's a great, like, champion you can throw into basically any content and just be confident that he's going to be able to help you out. He comes in here with the AoE HP burn, first of all, and he comes in with 3 turn duration. He instantly activates 1 tick of it, so he's going to be doing damage with this ability. It's on a 3 turn cooldown. He places a shield on all allies, so when he comes in, it's going to be a touchless HP burn. He's going to do 1 tick of damage against the wave, and then you're going to get a big shield back to protect your entire team. He also has a team revive here on a 5 turn cooldown. It revives all your allies, 50% HP, 40% Termir, and then you get an extra turn. So if you're in trouble, you come back in here with the revive, and then right into your HP burn, which gives a big shield on everybody. So these are really, really strong. And his passive makes it all kind of work together here. You get some Termir boost every time he lands the HP burn, which is really good. You also gain healing from HP burns that go off. Enemies that have HP burns removed or expire get decreased resistance on them. And then whenever enemies are killed under HP burn, Sulfurion gets 20% turn meter, and Sulfurion gains extra speed for each active HP burn. So there's a lot of benefits here for HP burn. Before Mercurial, he was actually a really good pick in Live Arena to help you go through Stone Skin. He can act as a turn meter booster for landing the HP burns. And yeah, he's very good. So he can deal damage in waves. He can protect your team. He can revive your team. He can give you turn meter boosting, give you healing. Very, very good champion, like I said, in all content in the game. Unfortunately for Arena, Mercurial exists now. And HP burn is not going to be too helpful against that. But in PvE content, Sulfurion is amazing to throw into any content. So from this list of champions here, I'll be most likely pulling on the weekend here unless, I change my mind for some reason. But I'll most likely be pulling at least something. And I think for the non-voids, I'm going to go for Vestil. I would love a Vestil on my account. And then if you guys were pulling for voids, the voids are not particularly super juicy, especially for big spenders. So Sulfurion would be the best champion here, I would believe, from this list of void champions. And I don't think Sulfurion is going to warrant people spending big money on void shards, but those would be my picks if I were pulling those respective shards. Anyways, not a bad progressive event to go alongside a Hero's Path shard pull event. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Are you guys planning to participate this weekend in the Gloom Eater's Path for Khamir's Soul and Fire Gem relic material? Yeah, let me know. Let me know what you guys think about all this Echo of Oz stuff that's happening. I kind of like this slow trickle, every day of kind of like new characters coming out. I kind of like that. If you guys missed the videos on the new Echo of Oz characters, make sure you guys check them out on the channel. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Would really help me out. Thanks so much for watching until the end, guys. Appreciate you all. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.